Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 FM.
Hello, thank you for tuning in to Kaieteur Radio. Kevin Smith here. These are the top stories we are tracking in your news at noon. International Advisory Group says Guyana risks over-reliance on gas plant as primary source of electricity. Disruption in supply would substantially increase GPL costs. Kaieteur News unearths deleted EPA guidelines of 2020. Region 7 man in custody for raping teen. G20 countries struggle to honor climate change commitments and pumped $3 trillion into fossil fuel projects since 2015. Meanwhile, after a 10-year court battle, Exxon ordered to pay Puerto Rico $25 million for contaminating island. Stay tuned to stay informed.
I'm in a rush. Digital got me in a rush. Driving style for the summer. Digicel Summer Rush.
Nobody's doing it big like Digicel this summer. Top up with $1,000 or more and collect the letters to spell the word RUSH for a chance to win one of 3 brand new Toyota Rush SUVs. Yes, you heard it right. 3 brand new Toyota Rush SUVs.
Driving style for the summer. Hey, Digicel Summer Rush.
Start topping up now.
And now for the news in detail. Guyana runs the risk of being overly reliant on the proposed gas-to-energy initiative, which is being pursued by the PPPC administration in cohorts with Stabroek Block operator ESSO for its electricity supply. This is according to K&M Advisors, an international consultancy group that was commissioned to conduct a study on this matter by the Inter-American Development Bank back in 2019. It, in fact, should the proposed gas-fired power generation plant be faced with a supply challenge, K&M said it will require burning significantly more expensive backup fuel, which would substantially increase the cost of electricity generation to GPL. With regards the several level of risk, it was noted that with the gas plant, the country would be utilizing up to 77% of generated electricity from natural gas. And in other news, on June 22nd, the EPA issued a notice alerting the public that the 2020 guidelines for reviewing and conducting environmental impact assessments were repealed and that, in the interim, its assessment guidelines that date back to 2000 would apply. The EPA had withdrawn its revised 2020 assessment guidelines a mere 6 days before it had mandated ESSO to conduct an assessment for its proposed $900 million gas-to-energy project. The EPA stated the new set of assessment guidelines were retracted pending more extensive consultation to adequately reflect the contributions from diverse stakeholders through wider public participation. Guyanese environmentalist Simone Mangal questioned the logic behind the EPA's decision to withdraw a set of guidelines. She noted that the agency removed the 2020 guidelines from its website rather than leaving them up in accordance with transparency best practice. It is in this regard that Kaieteur News undertook the challenge of finding the deleted guidelines. These guidelines will be available for the public eye from today on the Kaieteur News website. And moving on July 22nd, various environment and energy ministers convened in Italy to participate in the recently held G20 Summit, the first for this year. The G20 group represents an intergovernmental forum comprising 19 of the world's most powerful countries and the European Union. It works to address major issues related to the global economy, such as international financial stability, climate change mitigation, and sustainable development. In spite of his established intentions, the first day of the summit made little progress, especially as it relates to reaching climate goals, with a cluster of countries resisting firm commitments. This was noted by internationally renowned news agency, The Guardian. While countries debated over climate change action, thousands of flag-waving marchers protested against what they said was a lack of action on addressing global warming. And now let's tell you overseas territory. Puerto Rico scored a win against U.S. oil major ExxonMobil Corporation following a decade-long battle in which the island's administration had alleged that the company contaminated the island's groundwater and environment through its operations there. The U.S. District Court for Puerto Rico has since approved a $25 million settlement on Puerto Rico's favor as part of a lawsuit filed more than a decade ago against ExxonMobil Corp. and Esso Standard Oil Company, claiming that the companies contaminated the island's groundwater. The Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, through the Environmental Quality Board, had filed a complaint against ExxonMobil twice, in June of 2007 and in September of 2013, which were moved to the U.S. District Court for Puerto Rico. You're listening to Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. This is your news at noon. We will return after the break.
Sábado, 4 de la tarde. Agárrate. Porque llega para ti Latin Line On. Comentarios, buena música.
Pero si le ponen la canción, le da una depresión tonta.
Dura, que
Y la chispa de Miguel Linero. Solo por Kaieteur Radio. 99.1, 99.5 FM. La radio que marca la diferencia en Guyana.
Welcome back. Let us continue with the news. The Guyana Police Force reported on Thursday that a 25-year-old man from Region 7 was taken into custody for allegedly raping a teenage girl. According to the report, the act was committed during the month of April on a 16-year-old girl at a local store in the region. There, the man reportedly demanded sex from the young girl who refused. The media release stated that the suspect then overpowered the teen and allegedly raped her before making good his escape. After the matter was reported to the police, the suspect was later captured and taken into custody. An investigation was subsequently launched into the alleged incident. It should be noted that this horrible episode occurred just days after Commander of Region 7 Superintendent Dion Moore revealed that there is a 30% increase in rape matters in his district for the year so far. Meanwhile, on Thursday, the Ministry of Agriculture signed $428 million in contracts to boost the sector's performance. Of that amount, $84 million will be used for the procurement of a pontoon and 2 hydraulic excavators, which will operate in the Pomeroon River in Region 2. This will allow the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority to execute critical drainage works, the ministry stated. It is understood that this project will be completed by VR Construction Inc. and Guytrack. Minister of Agriculture Zulfikar Mustafa was keen to note that the foregoing is representative of the government fulfilling its commitment to the people of Pomeroon. And now let's tell you, following a video that was published on social media platforms showing a man allegedly chopping a puppy, animal rights activists yesterday protested in front of the Lenora police station on the west coast of the Marara. The protest was arranged by Tales of Hope Guyana, an agency that promotes animal health care awareness, provides rescue aid and housing to protect animals, and helps prevent cruelty to animals. Since the video surfaced, there has been no statement from police in relation to the incident. However, we understand that ranks visited the home of the suspect on 2 occasions, but he was not at home. Moreover, the Animal Welfare Act Section 5C stipulates that an owner who inflicts pain, suffering, or injury upon an animal during training commits an offense and is liable on summary conviction to a fine of $50,000 along with 3 months imprisonment. And at this time is now for your COVID-19 update. The Ministry of Health yesterday reported that 14 persons were recently admitted to the COVID-19 ICU. Although no new deaths have been reported, the ministry recorded 43 new COVID-19 infections within the last 24 hours, bringing the total number of confirmed cases to 21,850. Out of that number of confirmed cases, 11,190 persons are women, while 10,660 are men. 101 persons are in institutional isolation, 851 in home isolation, and 1 person in institutional quarantine. To date, a total of 20,366 persons have recovered after being infected with the virus. And just before we wrap things up, let's head over to the page 7 of the Kaieteur News dedicated to being blunt. It seems like it is hunting season on Guyanese workers. Company after company, all foreign, take advantage of Guyanese workers, treat them like dogs, and then kick them out the door. The latest such company is Troy Resources, which operates in our natural resources sector. Locals are fired to make way for foreign expatriates. Where is our labor ministry? Where is our labor movement? Isn't it time for a showdown with these foreign predators that come here and rip our wealth from the land and then kick our people in the teeth? When will this iPass stop? And with that, we've come to the end of today's News at Noon. Kevin Smith here. Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar